Hey, how y'all doing out there in YouTube land? This Stiletto coming at you from the Wild Wild West. Well, today is part 2 of the unboxing. And just to let you all know, after I unbox and saw my new scales, yes, I went ahead and installed them and polished everything up. But I noticed that there's some little bit of grind marks I can still see on the top of this blade. So I'm gonna polish those out. So that's what we're gonna do right now. Absolutely love it though. These are the JG10 scales I got from bladescales.com. I think that's the name of it, bladescales.com. I'll check it and make sure. If it's not, it'll be in the show more section of this video. I'll put down the correct link to get in touch with these people. But they're out of Tennessee and they make everything in-house. So these scales are made in the United States. But I always notice though, as soon as they post their scales, whenever they got a new batch done and ready to be posted and up for sale, they sell out. You know, like the most popular colors, like the jade and I think they still have orange and black if you want to go get a set of these scales. They sell out really quick. Really nice scales too. I polished everything on this knife. It's been completely polished. The liners, all the parts, everything's been polished. Even the titanium ball cage I polished. And when I was polishing that, I noticed that the ball cage comes apart. The little stem part that goes into the actual ball cage is a screw-in part. So I think that's probably stainless steel for some reason. I don't know. I'm not sure if the screw-in part is titanium or not. It might be a stainless steel part, but then again, it might be titanium too. I don't know. But anyway, what I did with mine is that I red Loctated the crap out of it. And then I let it dry, and then I finished polishing it. Because I didn't want it to come apart again. But they do unscrew. This piece unscrews from the stem that holds the spring. That's what I'm talking about. I thought it was all one piece, but actually it's two pieces. The stem is a threaded piece that screws into the threaded titanium ball cage. And the threads aren't long to the really little short amount of threads. That's the reason why I red Loctite the crap out of it. Because I don't need to take that apart anymore. But this knife came out perfect, people. Came out perfect. One thing I did notice though, let me take apart something for you real quick. That once you take this apart, it comes apart and goes apart fairly easily. And as you all know, I use my new tool from Sharp Dressed Knives. I absolutely recommend that you get one of these tools if you want to do this project. It takes off your scales without damaging them. Perfect install. But one thing I noticed though is that once you do this, it's not as tight no more. So I know I would recommend getting something like this, like a little plug or something for your lanyard hole. Or if you have a tool that can flare it back out, then that would work. But this sort of like keeps it all together now. And me myself, I don't like the lanyard holes anyway, so that works out perfectly for me. I want to do another one of these now. I want to do another one. I think I might want to get another Cruwear. And I want to do one with, I'm thinking OD green handle scales, you know, because I have to wait until their next batch comes out because those scales sold out. But I think the next one I want to do is a green one because I have purple, I have orange, I have all my favorite colors now. Purple, orange, and you know, like my favorite knives, you know, the 8020S. And this is my other favorite knife, the Manix 2XL, and I want to do some more customizing on this model. Why? Because I like the Cruwear. The Cruwear steel is awesome, people. This steel is awesome. And you know, if you don't believe me, go look at all the stats and everything on it. It's an awesome steel. You know, it's like D2 though, you know, where it can rust, or like 3V or whatever, where it can rust. So you don't want to leave it moist or in it or with salt on it, or you know, things that can to make it rust or whatever. So you got to take a little bit of extra care out of it. But the steel on this is awesome, and this knife right now to me is an awesome deal. That's the reason why I think I'm gonna go get another one. Because I don't think I'd rather have one of these than the S30V ones. Thing I like about the S30V though is that that's a great edge holding steel too, and the way that Spyderco does it, they're well known for, you know, making a good heat treatment on it. But I just like this Cruwear. The Cruwear is just known for being super tough, and it holds an awesome edge. It's one of the real premium super steels of, you know, of all the today's steels. And this is cheaper than getting, this is less expensive than getting the one with S30V. The S30V model and this one costs like about $190, $191. That's the regular retail online price for them. This one is $171.50. I'm talking about with the exact same finish and everything. These scales are custom scales. They come with the black smooth scales. That's one thing I do like about the S30V one over this model, though, is I like the scales on the S30V one better. You know, because I have two S30V ones, and they both have the texturized G10 scales, and those scales feel a lot better. By the way, the other scales that I purchased were actually pull-off scales. Let me see, do I still have them out here? I think I don't have them out here anymore. But they were actually pulled scales from, it's a company that modifies knives for people and stuff like that, and they have lots of pulled scales. It's on eBay, and they sell the pulled scales, they're genuine Spyderco XL scales for $25. So if you like the regular texturized scales, I bought a set of those too, because I thought I was going to put those on this one. But then when I saw this one with the natural JG10, I had to have this. Y'all know I love natural G10 people. And I polished everything. I polished the entire scales, the entire liners, the lock bar, the lock bar, the ball cage, all the screw tops, even the pocket clip, and the butt piece, and all the spacers on the inside. And then for the blade, I just did the spine of the blade. I didn't do the whole blade. I just did the spine. I'm absolutely digging this one, people, but I want to do a little bit better job on the spine. So that's what I'm going to do right now. And so to do that, I don't need to take apart anything. All I need to do is tape up everything, so everything's protected. And so if we're doing that, all I'm going to do is tape up this blade, all the parts of the blade that I don't want to get any scratches on or have any slight imperfections on from any kind of mistake I might make when I'm polishing the blade. So I'm going to tape off the blade. And I tape right along the spine. Just like that. So I leave the spine exposed, but I tape off all the other parts. Actually, I can do a little bit better job on here now that I look at it. Yeah, that's better. Do the same thing on the other side, and that's the big part, and the rest of it is just taping up everything so nothing gets messed up. This is the only part that really requires a lot of precision. This is what you do when you don't want to, you know, change the finish on the rest of your blade, but you want to just add a little highlight so the blade will match the rest of your polished knife. That's all I'm doing. Just creating a little feature or highlight, whatever you might want to call it, that'll make it match the rest of the knife. I'm doing this for people that always ask me how I do everything, and I'm just showing you how I do it. One thing I found out from doing stuff like this is that you gotta be careful when it comes to things that require grip. You don't want to polish those areas too much, because then it'll make them too slippery and you lose the purpose of the jimping. It won't be that grippy no more. You can polish all around the jimping, but I don't recommend polishing jimping. Unless it's jimping that you don't really use and you just sort of want it, like I did on this part. Because I'd rather have this be a little bit more smoothed out anyway. So I polished that part, wet sand it, and polished that part too. That's just for my personal preference. You know, other people may want the stronger jimping filling or whatever in that area of the knife. Myself, I didn't. I like having a little bit though, because it adds to the grip, but I don't need a whole lot. You know, it's just a personal preference thing. I think they should make it the way that they make it though. And then if you're like me and you want it to be a little bit tamer and not be so aggressive, you could do what I did, you know, wet sand it down a little bit and change it. So for people that do like it a little bit more aggressive, they'll be able to have theirs and you'll be able to have yours. I think that's the best way to do it. Spyderco makes very good knives. Every Spyderco knife that I have, I really like. Of course, then I don't buy every Spyderco knife either. I just buy the ones I'm really attracted to. And there haven't been that many Spyderco knives I've been really attracted to. I'm being honest. Most of them aren't really my style of knife. But the ones I do like, I really like. And this is one of the models that I like the most. The reason why I'm doing it like this, because I don't want stuff to get inside of it. This knife has been tuned and tuned, and it's perfect right now. And I'm going to keep it perfect. There, just to do that. This will keep your knife from getting damaged. You may have a little bit of sticky stuff from the tape or whatever, but you could always wash that. You know, little bit of elbow grease, you know, we'll get rid of that. So that's not a big issue. All right, let's get this party started. We're starting off with 320. I'm gonna take it all the way down to 320 because I noticed that The mark in it is probably from the forging or whenever they processed it. And that's one thing that you find out when you do, a little bit of water in here too. When you do stuff like this, because a lot of the finishes that they put on knives are finishes to hide blemishes. And you find the blemishes. But with polishing, you can take them out. And you make things perfect. I'm using my piece of glass right here that I use for the 8020S. It's perfectly flat. And that's why I don't want to round things off. I want to keep everything perfectly flat. And I'm going from the heel to the point. Heel to the point. And the main part of the scratch I need to take out is like, or the forge mark or grind mark is right in here, in this part of the blade. You guys probably can't see it, but I can. Now I'm going to go all the way to the tip. You got to be careful when you go to the tip. You always want to go in one direction. You don't want to go in the opposite direction. Because you want to take a chance of blunting your tip or partially sanding your tip, which will blunt it. It can always be repaired. I've done it lots of times. But it's just more effort you got to put into the blade. So it's better not to do it in the first place. I can still see it a little bit right there. Okay. I think I'm going to start concentrating on this part. This part looks nice. It's right in here that's the part that's bugging me. And right here, since I'm not near the tip, I can go back and forth. I can do the rocking motion, which is a faster way to sand. And also when you have your knife all together like this, it's easier to sand because you have a better grip to hold on to. As opposed to just trying to do, with the blades separate. But for the initial parts of the sanding and stuff, it's better to have the blades separate because I like to do the whole blade. Now this piece of sandpaper is kind of old, worn out. You can reuse your wet sandpaper over and over again until basically it's like all the sand on it's gone. As you guys can see, I have a lot of old sandpaper. I let it dry out. I let it hang and dry when I get done with it before I put it back into the waste paper basket that I keep it all in. But you don't have to keep buying new sandpaper over and over and over again. That gets very expensive if that's what you want to do. Not if you're hand sanding like I am. Because there's lots of parts of the sandpaper you may not even be touching, and then as the sandpaper gets old, you move around to that part of the sandpaper too. The only time I really like to use new sandpaper, if possible, is when I get to the finishing touches. This right now is more of the sanding part where I'm trying to sand out scratch marks. And once I see the scratch mark is gone, and then I'll take it to the next level. Okay, now I'm gonna see if the scratch is being removed, so I'm gonna go do sideways sanding in that area. Because the scratch runs the length of the blade. So by sanding this way, I'll be able to see if the scratch is really gone or not. Looks like we're getting there. I think we just about got it, people. Let's see a little bit right here. I don't know if you guys can see that. But other than that, it looks like it's all gone. So I'm gonna work on that real quick. Go back to going sanding like this, and then we'll check it later. A little bit right here on the heel, or where the shiny part of the blade spine begins. I'm a little bit OCD about stuff like this, people. I know. I know most people don't, take it to this, extent or whatever, but, I like my blades to look good. Even my first Voyager, Tonto, when that used to get scratches, I used to, I didn't sand it, I would just polish it. And that would get the scratches down to a point where I couldn't really be bugged by them no more. I would still be retaining the stonewash, because I like the stonewash finish on the Voyagers. Okay, I think we just about got it, people. We'll go to the polishing steps next. This is 320 wet sandpaper. I usually don't never like to go down that far, but that's what you have to do when you got really bad grit. I've even gone down as far as like 180. For like deep scratches or bad scratches or whatever. That's what you have to do sometimes. But preferably, if you got like a scuff, not really a deep scratch or anything, use like 1000 and above. Use the polishing grits, not the sanding. Not get away from so much like the sanding grits, because what sanding grits do is they put scratches in the blade, but they put finer scratches. So like right now this blade isn't perfectly polished, it's scratched. If I was to polish it right now, it wouldn't look that great. It would look real shadowy or cloudy. Because when you get to the real fine scratches, that's when you get to the mirror polish. And the real fine scratches probably start like around 1500 grit and go up. And like I would use grit higher than I use if I had it available to me, but the Home Depot and the Ace Hardware and Lowe's where I live, 3000 grit is usually about the highest grit you can find for wet sandpaper. But I would love to have like 5000, 6000, 7000 grit or something. It's hard to find sandpaper like that. If any of you guys know any connections like that, let me know. Because maybe the only way to get something like that is online or something. I haven't really searched for it online, because when I do stuff like this, I just go to the hardware store and get what I need. I know that works. Because I've been doing stuff like this long before I was doing it on knives, I was doing it on motorcycle parts. That's what, and bicycle parts when I was a kid. I learned this from a guy that we used to call, in my neighborhood, Uncle Fred. And Uncle Fred was a Hell's Angel. He was the one that did all the mechanics work for everybody in the part of town where I grew up in. And me and my buddy Tavo, we used to go hang out with Uncle Fred when we were teenagers. And that's how I learned all this stuff. How to, polish old parts, and because he used to always get like parts from swap meets and things like that, and he refurbished the parts and he make them look like brand new. Put them on bikes, and people would pay him for that. That was a side hustle. That's what he did. So this is just really just an old school trick. And any old timer would know this. Any old motorcyclist. And I'm just applying it to knives. That's all I'm doing. Doesn't take any high budget tools or anything like that. It just takes labor. It takes your labor. That's what it takes. If you don't like putting in your labor, then you gotta go buy the high budget tools. If you don't mind using a little bit of your own labor to do something, then you can save your money and do this. It's a lot cheaper to buy wet sandpaper to buy big old professional buffers and sanders and things like that. And this you can do anywhere. Okay, people, I think we got it. Let's go up to the next sandpaper. Okay, my battery's probably gonna wear down pretty soon, so I'll probably only do a couple more levels. And then I'll do another video and show you guys the finished product. But you guys can see what I'm doing. That's the main thing. Okay, let me see. We're going from 320, we need to go to 400 now. See if I ain't got any old 400 in here. I think I pulled some out. There it is. Little piece of 400. And 400 is just I'm not going to be doing any heavy duty sanding or anything with the 400. It's just getting it ready for the next level, basically. That's what I'm doing. 600 is when you start getting busy with it, and 6 and 800. Get all the last of the bigger scratches out. That's what you don't want to do. You don't want to stab your paper like that. It messes up the tip. So you want to keep the paper flat. This is an old piece of paper, but it still has some good sand on it. That's pretty good. I'm gonna go to the next one already. 600. That nice looking piece of 600 here, so we're gonna wet it down. The best way to do this is like underneath the sink, or some place where you have like running water, and you can keep washing away the sand. But this is the way I gotta do it for y'all. I'll probably go finish up underneath the sink though, I'll tell you that right now. And you can sort of feel it when it starts to get to the point where you need to go to the next sandpaper because it'll start feeling like smooth. It'll go from like a gritty feeling from when you're sanding to like a smooth feeling. And that's when you need to check it. Like that just did right there. It's looking good now, people. Looking good. Let's do a cross hatch. Let's go across.